Even as the Third Reich teetered on the brink of collapse, and the Wehrmacht was forced into a desperate retreat to Berlin, Nazi engineering continued to unveil weapons decades ahead of their time, leaving Allied tacticians in bewildered awe. As they drove into the heart of Germany, some GIs were confronted by a chilling and unfamiliar racketing. The haunting mechanical hum brought their advance to a sudden halt, and then, rising from the horizon, came an unprecedented flying contraption, the first helicopter used in war. The Flettner Fl 282 Kolibri, swift and groundbreaking, soared into the closing chapters of World War II, a last-ditch effort to change the course of the conflict and reverse Nazi Germany's impending demise. The type of aircraft that would define warfare for the next 100 years made its debut as it combed Europe's battlefields, scouting for Allied formations and artillery positions. In the 1940s, such a sight seemed like it was plucked from the pages of science fiction. Yet, for all its technological marvel, this pioneering aircraft faced overwhelming odds if it was to leave a mark in history, as defeat bore down on Nazi Germany. The dream of vertical flight. From the swirling sketches of Da Vinci's notebooks, the dream of mastering vertical flight beckoned visionaries for centuries. But it was in the turbulent embrace of the 20th century that these dreams first became reality. In 1907, Louis Breguet's gyroplane made hesitant leaps off the ground. Fellow Frenchman Paul Cornu achieved a similar feat in the same year, briefly tasting the air before descending. For the following decades, numerous efforts were made across the globe. But despite the emergence of several autogyro designs, no true helicopter would leave the drawing board. The true breakthrough in helicopter evolution would take place during World War II. Germany, with its relentless drive for technological supremacy, threw its weight behind rotary-winged innovation. After designing several gyroplanes, where the main rotor would lack power and be propelled by a secondary propeller system, Heinrich Focke would design the Focke-Wulf FW-61, the world's first practical, functional helicopter with a powered main rotor on top. This dual-rotor machine cut through the air, demonstrating an unprecedented blend of stability and agility during its first flight in 1939. The FW-61 successes laid the groundwork for a bolder successor by Focke's competitor, the Flettner Fl 282 Kolibri. The Kolibri was the most recent design in a line of experimental rotorcrafts that sought to aggressively compete with Focke for the chance to become the first military rotorcraft to be produced in mass for the Luftwaffe. Taking to the sky for the first time, just 2 years after the FW-61 in 1941, the improved performance, as well as the intensity of the war reaching its zenith, made the Kolibri the perfect candidate to become the first mass-produced military helicopter in the world. But putting the bold new aircraft into service at the front lines before the end of the war would be easier said than done. A first of its kind. The Fl 282 Kolibri was no ordinary helicopter. Originating from the Flettner Fl 265, it was the embodiment of all past aviation learnings, making its debut in July 1940. Its distinction lay in its intermeshing rotors, a design approach that would become popular only after World War II, placing the Kolibri significantly ahead of its time. At the heart of this agile machine was a 7-cylinder, 7.7-liter Siemens Halska SH-14 radial engine that generated up to 160 horsepower. Positioned centrally in the fuselage, this engine powered the rotors through an array of gearboxes and drive shafts. Its central placement also afforded the pilot an unparalleled forward view, making the Kolibri perfect for scouting, surveillance, and submarine spotting for the German Navy. Air to cool the enclosed engine was channeled in via vents beneath the fuselage, propelled by a wooden fan, and a high-pressure air tank facilitated engine starting. With a rich history in rotorcraft development, Flettner's engineers recognized the importance of an engine that was compact yet powerful. It had to endow the helicopter with speed, agility, and reliability, especially in combat situations. Impressively, the SH-14 engine was renowned for its reliability, functioning up to 400 hours without the need for significant maintenance. This durability contrasted sharply with the larger Focke Achilles FA-223 helicopter, which, powered by a 27-liter BMW Bramo Fafner 750 horsepower engine, required maintenance every 25 hours. Though the SH-14 engine was ideal for the compact FL-282, integrating an engine of similar power into a more sizable helicopter would prove challenging due to weight constraints, compromising cargo or passenger capacity. In the early 1940s, despite Focke's notable helicopter designs, he found himself overshadowed by Flettner. This was partly because the Nazi regime ousted him from the very company he co-founded, branding him politically unreliable. This turn of events paved the way for the FL-282 Kolibri and its formidable engine to shine, marking it as the most promising helicopter design ready for mass production. Odd machine. The FL-282 Kolibri had a refined steel tube fuselage enveloped in doped fabric, confidently resting on a fixed tricycle undercarriage. Lightweight, with a predominantly open cockpit, the helicopter was a captivating sight in flight. Germany's Navy recognized Kolibri's potential. They imagined its use as a submarine spotter, subsequently ordering 45 units. In 1941, the Kolibri demonstrated its capabilities, seamlessly taking off and landing on a pad aboard the German cruiser Kulm. Notably, while the initial two prototypes, the A series, had enclosed cockpits, the following models, labeled the B series, sported open cockpits. One of Kolibri's standout safety features was its ability to switch to auto-rotation in the event of an engine failure, ensuring the pilot's safety. During its development, engineers toyed with three-bladed rotors, finding them steadier than the traditional two-blade configuration. However, this innovation didn't gain traction. In terms of hover efficiency, the Kolibri achieved a figure of 0.72. Considering the figure of merit measuring a helicopter's efficiency can never reach 1, 0.72 was an impressive value, particularly for such an early design. In summary, the FL-282 Kolibri was a trailblazer, pioneering features that would become standard in post-World War II helicopters. Sleek and dependable, the Kolibri was envisioned as the Luftwaffe's aerial scout, both at sea and over Europe's embattled landscapes. Mass production. Throughout the rigorous testing phase in 1941, the FL-282 consistently surpassed expectations, proving itself more advanced and logging more flight hours than any other German helicopter of the time. Much of the testing was conducted by Flettner's chief pilot, Hans E. Fuisting. He not only pioneered blind flying tests, but also trained many of the 50 pilots who mastered the FL-282. These pilots lauded the helicopter's reliability and its ability to operate safely, even under challenging weather conditions. However, novice pilots faced challenges when flying close to the ground. When turning with the wind, some lost lift and collided with the ground. Tragically, one new pilot lost his life while flying the FL-282 in cloud cover. It's believed he dived the machine too steeply and then yanked the controls back too forcefully, causing the rotor blades to clash with each other or strike the tail. As a result, a speed limit of 105 kilometers per hour was set for diving. Still, aside from this incident, the helicopter experienced no other significant accidents during the testing period. The Air Ministry was thoroughly impressed, and Flettner's diminutive helicopter quickly emerged as the top contender for mass wartime production. The FL-282's unparalleled stability, flight duration, and safety set it apart. Consequently, in 1942, a decision was made to commence the production of the FL-282, albeit on a limited initial scale. However, as the war's tide turned against Germany and it grappled with dwindling strategic resources, the production timeline for the FL-282 suffered. By 1944, an order for the production of 1,000 Kolibri helicopters was placed with the Bayerische Motorenwerke, or BMW, but the war's outcome was becoming increasingly clear. Despite the Kolibri's forward-thinking design and superior performance, its fate was intertwined with the war's, and its potential would remain largely unfulfilled. Warbirds. The FL-282 underwent rigorous service trials, with several operational deployments from 1942 onwards. They predominantly operated from platforms atop the gun turrets of convoy escort vessels in the Baltic, Aegean, and Mediterranean. Despite frequently flying in harsh weather, the helicopter showcased superior control and performance. As World War II advanced, the Luftwaffe contemplated adapting the FL-282 for battlefield roles. Initially designed for a solo pilot, a spot for an observer was later added at the craft's rear, resulting in the B-2 model. When Allied forces breached Normandy, the handful of operational B-2s demonstrated their value as artillery spotting aircraft. In 1945, an observation unit consisting of 3 FL-282 and 3 FA-223 helicopters was established. For the Allied soldiers marching toward Berlin, witnessing such an avant-garde machine ascend, hover, and vertically descend was a spectacle. It highlighted that, despite facing imminent defeat, Germany remained a formidable foe, armed with some of history's most innovative weaponry. However, like many of Germany's advanced weapons unveiled in the war's twilight, the limited number of Kolibris and scarce resources meant they couldn't alter the conflict's course. By Victory in Europe Day, only 3 of the 24 FL-282 prototypes crafted by Flettner at Johannisthal remained intact. The rest were destroyed to prevent enemy capture. The ambitious order for 1,000 FL-282s from BMW went unfulfilled due to relentless Allied bombing stalling production. The Flettner Johannisthal facility also fell victim to bombings. By the war's end, only 24 prototypes had been constructed. Of these, the Allies found 3 in operational state. The FL-282 V-15 and V-23 were transported to the USA, and another was sent to the USSR. Known survivors include the FL-282, housed at the Cranfield Institute of Technology, and the FL-282 V-23, showcased at the United States Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. When the war concluded, Flettner was in the process of developing at least 2 other helicopters, the FL-285, a fleet spotter powered by an Argus AS-10C engine, with a 2-hour flight capacity and provisions to carry 2 small bombs, and the FL-339, a large transport helicopter concept driven by a BMW 132A engine. The war's tumultuous climax put a halt to many of Germany's ambitious aircraft projects, including the advancement of other helicopter prototypes. As a result, the United States seized the opportunity to take the lead in helicopter innovation. Pioneered by Igor Sikorsky and crafted by the Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation, the Sikorsky R-4 took to the skies for the first time in 1942. Without the constraints that plagued German designs in the war's later stages, the American helicopter progressed seamlessly into full-scale mass production. It not only became the world's first helicopter to be produced on a large scale, but also marked its combat debut with the U.S. Army Air Forces, U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard, and the UK's Royal Air Force. Had the war not disrupted its trajectory, the FL-282 might have held this pioneering title. Unfortunately, as fate would have it, the Kolibri and its predecessors faded into history, largely overshadowed by subsequent developments. Thank you for watching Dark Skies. For more incredible flying machines lost to time or scorching air battles of history, subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. If you're yearning for more military-themed content, check out our other Dark Documentaries channels, where we explore the latest weapon technology and heroes of battles from the past. Stay tuned.